commencement speaker, Justin. Thank you, Mr. President. Good morning, class of 2016. Our commencement speaker has a lot in common with all of you sitting on the field today. Like us, he chose to attend Northwestern University. Like most of us, he spent 4 of his most formative years as a student here in Evanston. Like some of us, he went to Nevins and proceeded to forget about his essay due the next day. Like some of us. And on a day like today, just like us, he sat in those chairs at his commencement ceremony, dressed in cap and gown, anxiously awaiting for the next steps ahead. What Seth Meyers has achieved since that day demonstrates just how far we can go, and how greatly our Northwestern experience can lead to success. Seth started in comedy right here on campus as a member of a certain student troupe that's 1/3 improv, 1/3 sketches, 1/3 rock and roll, and Meow is still thriving today. He first worked professionally about 15 miles south of here with Improv Olympic. Then he went to Amsterdam's Boom Chicago, a company founded by Northwestern alumni, and toured Europe in a show that attracted the attention of Saturday Night Live. After joining the SNL cast in 2001, he became co-head writer and Weekend Update anchor in 2006, and sole head writer in 2008. Today, he's an Emmy and Screenwriters Guild Award winner and the host of NBC's Late Night with Seth Meyers, a show to which my parents fall asleep almost every single night.
Oh my God.
Yet, after all the success, Seth has proudly held on to his Wildcat roots, coming back to Evanston to serve as homecoming Grand Marshal in 2011, sending a video message cheering on dance marathon dancers in 2014, and now sitting on this stage, ready to share some wisdom and congratulations to the class of 2016. Whether it's in medicine, law, engineering, consulting, whatever career path we may choose to follow, I hope we can use our Northwestern experience and find the same hard-earned success that Seth has found. Ladies and gentlemen, and everyone in between, it is my great honor to present the 2016 commencement speaker, Seth Meyers.
Oh, I'm sorry if I seem nervous. I'm a huge Justin Marquez fan. If you've ever seen that guy in an econ class, but he's something else. Good morning, thank you, President Shapiro, distinguished faculty, friends and family, but most importantly, thank you, graduating class of 2016, for having me here today. I'd like to start by focusing on me and saying how excited I am with my new title, Doctor of Arts. Doctor of Arts, also known as the doctor least requested in an emergency. Is there a doctor on the plane? I'm a doctor of arts. Sit down, sir. I believe you meant sit down, doctor. I should say I'm not the most excited about my new title. My wife's family is Jewish, and her mother is so happy that she can finally tell people her daughter married a doctor. This is for you, Joanne! I also can't tell you how nice it is to be on a stage where I am without question the dumbest person. For example, Richard P. Lifton behind me pioneered the use of human genetics to understand diseases, but I just made a joke about my mother-in-law. It's a true story. I was telling this to someone while we were preparing for this, I was thinking back to the 2 science classes I took at Northwestern that were required. In my freshman year, I took a class called Earth as a Planet. And I got a C. And in my spring quarter, my senior year, I realized I hadn't taken my second one, and I took a class called Intro to Geology. And halfway through the first class, I realized that what the class was Earth as a planet that had been renamed. Intro to Geology. So yeah, I got that second C. Also, I want to say it's such an honor to share the stage with my fellow degree recipients, and an even greater honor to share it with the recipients of the Distinguished Secondary Teacher Awards. So wonderful to be up here with you. My mother was a public school teacher. I have so much respect for what you do. And I certainly wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for my teachers, both before and during my time at Northwestern. In fact, in preparing for this, I recalled a professor of mine here, Paul Edwards, who had a huge impact on my life. And I realized I'd never told him that, so this week I emailed him my thanks. And he very touchingly wrote back, "New email, who dis?" I'm just kidding. He didn't write back. But I cannot express to you how special it is for me to be here in this place today. 42 years ago, I was born down the street at Evanston Hospital. 20 years ago, I graduated at this very same spot, and today I speak to you. Basically, every 20 years or so, a major life event happens for me on Central Street. Which is why I'm so looking forward to 2036, when I will finally start my dream job at Mustard's Last Stand. Thank you for the honor of speaking to you today. And while I am excited to be here, I'll admit I was hesitant to accept when I was first asked. Hesitant because I honestly didn't know if I was up to the challenge of imparting you with words of wisdom on this incredibly momentous and well-earned day of your lives. But then I thought back to my commencement 20 years ago. I was sitting where you were, and Robert Redford, the legendary Robert Redford, was standing here. What made me think I could do this was looking back on that day, I realized I don't remember a single word Robert Redford said. And that was Robert Redford. What chance is there that you're going to remember a single word I tell you today? And mind you, I remember a ton of other things about that day. I remember I walked here wearing Ray-Bans and carrying a bottle of champagne. I remember my brother, Josh, a Northwestern sophomore at the time, was on crutches and had a long, stringy ponytail. In his defense, it was 1996 when a long, stringy ponytail was also a terrible look. I remember he was so overwhelmed by the commencement that my least emotional friend started crying really hard. Like really hard. He was crying so hard we thought we might have to take him to a doctor. I don't want to say his name because he's still embarrassed about it, but I will tell you his nickname is Bags. And we call him Bags because his name is Dave Bagaroy. I remember the night of my commencement, friends and I celebrating by blasting Bruce Springsteen's Thunder Road in our apartment over and over again. Not because we think Evanston is a town for losers, but because we love screaming, "I'm pulling out of here to win." In fact, we played it so many times, the graduate student who lived across the hall screamed at us to turn it down. And I also remember telling him, "You grad students think you're better than me, but you're not, and tonight you can suck it." Being older, I'd just like to say to that grad student, wherever you are, in reflection, I realized you were, in fact, better than me. But in my defense, I was drunk. I had just graduated, so you can suck it. What I'm getting at is my words won't be what stays with you from today. Today is a culmination of your journey and your achievements. So while I'm speaking, I invite you to drift off and remember your favorite parts of the last 4 years. Remember what you accomplished and what you overcame and the fun you had and the people that you met, because that's what will stay with you. And I won't be insulted. In fact, later, when your degrees are being conferred, I promise that I too will drift off. Pay no attention to that. Because another thing I remember about my commencement is that these things can be too long and kind of boring. I also remember, and I'm so glad they haven't fixed it, that for a school full of very smart people, they sit everyone who's graduated and all their friends and family facing the hot, hot sun when it's at its highest point. I'm not the only one here. You'll forget. In time, you will forget everyone who was on this stage. Pretty much the only person you're going to remember at all is President of the Alumni Association, Catherine Malsma, because I can tell you from experience that NU alumni relations will stay in your life. You are going to discover in your postgraduate years that those in charge of alumni relations truly are the Liam Neesons of collegiate life. They will look for you. They will find you. And you better have that checkbook out. Catherine Malsna has a very specific set of skills. So despite coming to the conclusion that I am no way the most memorable part of the day, I still had to write this speech. And I didn't know if I should start with an outline or just write a first draft that I could show to colleagues or talk to other people who have given commencement speeches in the past. But instead, I decided to honor my years at Northwestern and the kind of student I was. I would wait until the last minute, pull an all-nighter, and just jam this bad boy out. I with the margins and used a big old font. President Shapiro's probably had his script locked since March. Meanwhile, as of Monday, all I had were notes on a legal pad that consisted fully of the words, something about following your dreams, maybe? But it's funny, you know, when I started at SNL, and the most important skill was being able to write under a deadline, I realized that all of my Northwestern procrastinating had actually been practice. In fact, I wasn't procrastinating at all. I was pro-practicinating. And you might be saying that's not a word, but I think I know, because remember, I'm a doctor of arts. Just be thankful I have a script. In his introduction, Justin mentioned I was in the Meow Show. And no, I have considered just improvising this. Walking out and saying, can I get a suggestion of a location you see yourself in 10 years? But I decided writing it was better and more fitting, because I learned to love to write here. And that it wouldn't be hard for me because not a day goes by that I don't think about my time in Northwestern. So I can sincerely tell you this, you will leave here with knowledge and a diploma. But what will endure the longest are your friends. I am so close to the people I went to Northwestern with. And I can tell you it is great to be 42 and still be friends with the people you knew when you were 18. So today is the day to look around your group of friends and identify the people who you want to be a part of the rest of your lives. Also, while you're at it, look around and identify the friend that's kind of a dud. Because today is as good a time as any to cut ties. And trust me, every group of college friends has a dud. And if you're looking around right now saying, not my group of friends, that's probably because you're the dud. That's just real talk. I can also tell you that 20 years from now, 30 years from now, or maybe even 40 years from now, the day will come when you pay off the last of your student loans. I can tell you that one of the benefits of going to Northwestern is unlike an Ivy League graduate, people will think you're smart without immediately thinking you're also pretentious. Unless that person went to the University of Illinois, in which case they'll think you're incredibly pretentious. You know, I also thought it would be nice today to share an inspirational speech, and since Northwestern is on the quarter system, and this is the last graduation of any major university, I realized I could just steal a quote from another 2016 commencement speaker. Like Michelle Obama, who said, to the City College of New York graduates, we know that our greatness comes when we appreciate each other's strengths, when we learn from each other, when we lean on each other. Or Lin-Manuel Miranda, who told the graduates at the University of Pennsylvania, "I know that many of you made miracles happen to get to this day. I know that parents and grandparents and aunts and uncles and family behind you made miracles happen to be here." But I think my favorite inspirational quote came from Donald Trump, who said to the graduates of Trump University, "If you want your money back, you're going to have to sue me, you losers." On a serious note, I can tell you it's often frustrating being the age you are now. And nothing will be more frustrating to you than trying to explain yourself and your ideas to older people. So when making your arguments, please be patient with us. You will be right about a great many things before we are. And we are slow on the uptake sometimes. For example, I might never figure out Snapchat. And I'm just going to have to be okay with that. At the same time, don't let older generations blame you for what they see as the problems of the world. You're too young for any of this to be your fault. You have a good decade before any of this is on you, so my only advice is use those 10 years well. And remember, the worst things that happen in this country don't happen because of hate or rage or fear. They happen